Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Then as soon as we wanted to watch it on Forgotten Cinema, it goes to A&E, and I got to pay to rent it.
She obliterates his area. He's back up fighting like there's no pain going through there.
Lady, you're about 5 punches to the balls
That
too late.
guy-
There's nothing down there but dust.
That guy needs to be on the floor writhing in pain.
Oh, man, he reads a lot. He's such a learned man. He's so great. He's so much better than everyone.
He is, right? Look at that review.
God. Oh, my God. Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the film simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy our podcast, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Find us. Our podcast is available on all platforms with a backlog of over 150 episodes for your listening pleasure.
A lot of episodes. How you doing, Mike?
Doing all right. How are you?
I am doing well. And once again, we are not alone. We have a special guest with us today.
Special. Okay.
You're doing X-Files?
I was.
All right. We have a former co-host of mine from Yet Another MCU Podcast, Mr. Pat Whalen. Pat, say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Okay, excellent. Do you want to introduce anything about like what you do or what you want to talk about anything? You just want to say, hey, let's get to the movie? That's it?
Hey, let's just get to the movie. I think they know me if they watched Yet Another or listened to Yet Another MCU Podcast, or if you found us on YouTube with some of the Everything You Should Know videos about the MCU. You could find us
ForgottenEntertainment.com.
Absolutely. And you could find Yet Another MCU Podcast talking junk about the MCU on Instagram.
Talking junk. The triumvirate of Forgotten Entertainment is actually sitting around this table right now.
I'm still waiting for the Phase 4 season, whenever's Phase 4.
There are Phase 4 episodes that have not been published that we did kind of as videos that I edited, but they're not out there. We did Black Widow and Shang-Chi, right? That was it.
Yes, I think that was it. Did we do the Eternals?
No, we did not do the Eternals because I'll do it. And my 20 minutes is going to be, how do you put a sex scene in a PG-13 film? But whatever.
How is the sex scene that boring?
So Pat, so with all the, this is actually our first guest for this season. We're having a different episodes. We're going to have different guests from different podcasts. Friends of ours, people actually that we guested on their podcast. And for all of them, how I did this was I gave them the big long list of all the movies that Mike and I put together where we're like, oh, we should put this on the list, put this on the list. And it's a big iPhone list, note list kind of thing. Right. Yeah. I sent it to Pat and I go, Pat, pick one and, we're going to do it. Already knowing what Pat was going to pick because he's asked us to do this movie for about a year and a half now. What movie did you pick? What are we doing today, Pat?
Summer Catch.
Summer Catch. That's right. So let's get into what it's about and the facts, and then I'll tear it down while Pat tries to defend it. A coming-of-age romantic comedy set against the backdrop of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Local boy Ryan Dunne, now a pitcher for Boston College, meets Tenley Parrish, the daughter of a wealthy couple who summer on the Cape. Ryan and Tenley fall in love, much to the chagrin of their families, while Ryan clings to one last hope of being discovered and signed to a pro baseball contract.
That boy don't work for no Boston College no more.
He's out, right? He left?
No,
he got kicked out.
He got kicked out of Framingham State,
right.
didn't he?
He left Boston College, got kicked out of Framingham State.
Yeah. Which makes it disqualifies him from playing in the Cape Cod Baseball League, which is open only for college players. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, maybe he wasn't officially signed out yet. I don't care. What I'm hung up on is the name Tenley. I've never heard that name before. It's like is this such a white privilege name?
That was the point of the name too. I think
Back then in 2001.
I mean, clearly it hasn't taken off because all of us who were watching this in 2001 are close to or have had kids, and nobody has named their children Tenley.
I almost think like if she was their 10th daughter, like their 10th child, and Tenley, that would make sense. Here comes 8 Lee. All right, anyway. So the movie Summer Catch has a runtime of 104 minutes. It's rated PG-13. Production budget varies depending on where you look at. It could be either from 17 million to 34 million, but we'll say, I guess, 34 million.
Well, 34 sounds like maybe with marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Since it doubles.
Couldn't tell you. Who knows? Release date was Friday, August 24th, 2001. So it's a late summer entry. Its opening weekend, it did $7 million. Domestic, it did $19.7 million. International did $18.8 thousand. And then worldwide is pretty much 19.7. Doesn't really. The 18.8 didn't move that meter really too much. Production company was Tollin Robbins Productions and was distributed by Warner Brothers. I said it came out on the 24th of August in 2001. It went up against in a wide release Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, a movie I saw.
I like that one.
Ghost of Mars, the John Carpenter film.
Don't like that one.
Bubble Boy with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oof.
And then the Woody Allen movie, The Curse of the Jade Scorpion. Actually, wasn't Kate Blanchett nominated for that? Did she win for that?
That wasn't the one with
That was the one.
No.
She wasn't in that? Now, the limited release that week, you had Tortilla Soup and Happy Accidents. Okay, the week after, the 31st of August, in a wide release, you had Jeepers Creepers and O, which is basically Othello in high school.
Can I add that to the list
please.
next time?
What, O?
Yeah.
Seriously? You're going to make me watch O again?
I guess not.
Hartnett.
I guess not.
Wait, his other choice was Adventureland. Put O back on. Put O back on.
You can put O on. Butler, put O on.
I just want to be part of Forgotten Sports.
We're putting O on. O is on the list now. Weird. The week before, the 17th of August, you had a wide release of Rat Race, American Outlaws, and Captain Corelli's Mandolin. That just sounds lovely. I think I know of Captain Corelli's Mandolin. That's with Nick Cage.
I remember liking it, but I don't remember it.
I don't.
I remember the trailer, but I know I also saw the movie, and I can't remember.
I don't remember seeing the movie,
trailer.
and I don't know if I don't remember anything about it. I just knew that Nick Cage is in it. I did see Rat Race, which has some funny moments, but probably doesn't age well.
Rat Race. I like the Mr. Bean stuff in Rat Race.
You like the stuff when they go to the German museum? This was directed by Michael Tollin, who's done Radio and not much else. He actually does he produces and directs a lot of 30 for 30 movies. Well, I want to say episodes, but they're films. He was nominated for an Oscar for a documentary of Hank Aaron, Chasing the Dream. This movie has a story and screenplay credit by Kevin Falls, who's done The Temp, and he is a producer and writer on the TV show This Is Us, and he's done Franklin and Bash as well, another TV show. Screenplay credit for John Gattens. He is nominated for an Oscar for the movie Flight. He's also done Real Steel and Coach Carter. Cinematography by Tim Schertitt. I probably said that wrong. He's done Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Idiocracy, and Critters, to name a few. He's done a lot. He has a lot of credits. Two composers, George Fenton and Tarsha Vega. Fenton was nominated for Oscars for The Fisher King, Dangerous Liaisons, Cry Freedom, and Gandhi. And Vega is pretty much an actor from Get a Grip and Fugitive Hunter. I think this is Vega's only composer credit. Edited by Harvey Rosenstock, who has done Teen Wolf 2 when Jason Bateman takes over. Scent of a Woman and Tombstone. And produced by Brian Robbins, Michael Tollin, and Sam Wiseman. Robbins has done Good Burger, Wild Hogs, and Varsity Blues. I think he directed Varsity Blues, if I'm not mistaken. I think he did. You guys don't know? Offhand.
Not offhand.
He's actually in Head of the Class. He's one of the actors in Head of the Class. Michael Tollin has done the same credits as I listed before for the director. And Sam Wiseman has done Bye Bye Love and Shuttle and Dad. This movie has actually a big cast, which I did not anticipate. Did you anticipate this size of this cast that you're going to make me go through?
You don't have to go through all of it. I don't know what you mean by
concept of the podcast.
You remember the movie?
I don't know.
I didn't remember a lot of them.
Oh, I remember the movie. Okay. Yeah.
I just didn't remember as many. I didn't remember as many people like names in it.
There are a couple of background people that I was like, oh man, this guy's in it. But other than that, like most of the main people I remember.
Right. Freddie Prinze Jr. as Ryan Dunne from the 2 Scooby-Doo films that were the live action. He's also in I Know What You Did Last Summer and The House of Yes. Jessica Biel as Tenley Parrish. She's from Cellular, The Illusionist, the A-Team in the TV show on Hulu, Candy. She's also in the first season of The Sinner, which is actually a pretty good show. I never went to the second season.
Is that the one that's based on a podcast?
The Sinner, I don't know. No, that's the thing about Pam with
Jessica Chastain?
No, Renee Zellweger in a fat suit.
Oh,
yeah,
because she was in. Jessica Biel did a
Candy is based on a real life story,
right? But she did one about. It was based on an audio podcast where like a bunch of people in a town disappear. And she's investigating it.
No, that's not that.
I can't remember what the name of that one is.
I don't know that one.
That the Sinner is when she just suddenly stabs some dude at a beach, and they're trying to figure out why she stabbed this guy, and you kind of figure out what happened to her and stuff like that. And Candy's based on a murder from the 80s.
Right.
Yeah. Fred Ward, who we just lost this year, rest in peace, Mr. Ward. He plays Sean Dunne. He plays Ryan Dunne's father. He's in The Right Stuff, Remo Williams, Tremors, and Chain Reaction. Matthew Lillard as Billy Brubaker. He's also in the Scooby-Doo films. He plays Shaggy, of course. He's in the first Scream. He's on the TV show Bosch for a couple seasons, and he's in the movie Hackers, because I always going to bring up Hackers if I ever can. Brian Dennehy as John Schiffner. There you go. I did it. He's in First Blood, Tommy Boy, and Presumed Innocent. I didn't realize he passed away in 2020. I was a little bummed out about that. Jason Gedrick as Mike Dunne from Iron Eagle 1 and 2, Heavenly Kid, and Backdraft. You also had Brittany Murphy as Dee Dee Mulligan from Clueless, 8 Mile, Sin City, and a movie we did, Butler, Uptown Girls.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce Davison as Rand Parrish. He was nominated for an Oscar for Longtime Companion. He's also in the X-Men, Shortcuts, and The Crucible. Mark Blucas as Miles Dalrymple from the TV show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He's also in Night and Day and Sleeping with Other People. And then Wilmer Valderrama makes his film debut in this film as Mickey Dominguez. He is on that 70s show and unfortunately that 90s show that's coming out for people that want to.
Yeah.
Listen, he just posted today when we're doing this, his script for.
I saw that. I saw that. He's also in NCIS and he's also in the movie Larry Crown, which actually might be one for our podcast, Butler, Larry Crown with Tom Hanks.
Wilmer Valderrama?
Yeah. No. Tom Hanks. Corey Pearson plays Eric Van Lemire or the jerk in the movie. The only credit I have for him is he's just not that into you. Christian Kane is Dale Robin. You might know him from the TV show Leverage. I'm sure that's Pat's favorite, and the TV show The Librarians. Another favorite of Pat's.
Absolutely not. No, I never got into the TNT shows. It was more of the USA Network Blue Sky shows.
Oh, there you go.
He's good on Angel as the evil lawyer turned kind of good. Turned evil.
Wolfram and Hart. Oh, I can't believe I remember that. Gabriel Mann as Augie from Josie and the Pussycats. He plays Alan M, and he's also in The Bourne Identity and The Bourne Supremacy, I believe, the next one after. And then you had, like you talked about, a couple cameos of Beverly D'Angelo as this is the terrible, terrible title for her role, Lusty House Mother. You could just give her a name. She's in the Vacation films and the TV show Entourage, and then John C. McGinley, who actually he goes uncredited in this. Plays the scout at the end of the film. Hugh Alexander. He is from the TV show Scrubs, which is probably where everyone knows him from. And then Hank Aaron's in this film.
I didn't realize he was uncredited in this.
Yeah,
because he has a couple moments. He's early on.
Yeah, maybe I'm wondering uncredited, so he doesn't get paid. He doesn't pay for it. That kind of
so he doesn't have to justify this when people look at his resume.
I'll help you out. Okay, I'm shooting something. I'll just pop over. Let me just do a weird voice and wear suspenders, and we're all.
I'm in the Cape for vacation, although that's not where they filmed it.
I know they filmed it in North Carolina. Nice. They were in the Cape somewhere at some point. So I guess we have all seen this film at some point. You have obviously, Pat, have seen it more than us.
Yes.
And I don't want to get into why it's forgotten, because we'll get to that later.
Okay.
But I would like to get into why you wanted to do this film with us, if you can do it without saying why it's forgotten.
So I'll try to say it this way. When you guys told me the concept of forgotten cinema, this one popped up. It isn't one that I'm actively looking for on Netflix or Amazon or wherever I go to find this one. But when it was on cable, whether if it was TBS or HBO or something, it's a good rewatch where I turn it on and I kind of get sucked in for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, the whole rest of the movie, whatever it is. You're flipping through the stations. This is on. I'm gonna linger for a while and watch it. And when you guys gave me the concept of forgotten cinema, this is what made me think of that. So you've seen this multiple times. Yes. So it's safe to say that nothing changed for this viewing in terms of the other times that you would watch it, because I know you're watching it this time with a little bit more of a analytical view. Did anything change in terms of your thoughts, or only from the analytical view that I think some of the jokes just don't hold up 20 years later? Okay. Not so much that they aren't funny, but they're not politically correct. They're not. You can't do these anymore. We can get to that. Butler, I don't know your history with this movie.
Kind of the same as Pat. I remember renting it back in the day and really liking it. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a really fun watch. It's a great summer movie.
You're talking about like 2002, 2003, like back then?
Back then, when it first came out. Yeah, as soon as it came out. And then kind of like Pat, like if it was on Comedy Central, TBS, or HBO, I definitely have only seen it once all the way through. But I remember at least catching the ending of when Ken Griffey Jr. hits a home run off of him.
Spoiler.
Like, I remember that scene, like having watched that quite a few times. Because I always really like the ending where you think he's going to be this big star and then he gets dunked on, basically.
Oh, it's just his first pitch.
Right. But I also like that freeze frame with the smile on his face.
Sure.
So I remember that. The movie didn't quite hold up as well on this rewatch.
Okay.
I feel like it's because a lot of the jokes kind of didn't age well, and because some of the stuff, just having watched more movies, it's not as well put together as similar things in the same vein.
Okay.
But it's just the camaraderie between the cast and the fun that they're having. You have fun while you're watching it, and I was still sucked in the whole time. I might not have laughed as loud as I used to, but it's still got some really good lines, and I think that everybody's got a lot of chemistry in this film together, and I think that what makes it work.
So you talk about the jokes and Pat brought them up. So let's talk about the stuff maybe that didn't work for you guys. Whoever has one first.
Any of the fat people jokes, just they gotta go.
So you like Matthew, basically. I want to say Matthew Lillard, but Billy Brubaker ripping on what's Lucas's character name? Dalrymple. What's his first name? Because I don't want to keep saying Dalrymple.
You'll say Dalrymple.
Miles. So the fact that Miles likes big women, or he likes
fat women, and fat women.
I don't
like him.
I like when he does that big thing at the end, and
I can't watch his episodes of Buffy without thinking of that line. That's like scarred. I will always think of him
when he does that big thing at the end where he's like, "Oh, I gotta let everyone know." It's like, first of all, no, you don't. You don't have to let everyone know. You just have to let the people at the table know. Like, you don't have to make a big deal about it. And I didn't. What he said, it was just kind of like, this seems just kind of self-serving, and like, no way. Like, honestly, like everybody that clapped, let's be honest, they're all being like, "What a loser!" Like, they're all making fun of him after the fact. And just to that point, the jokes may not work, but he's ripping on Miles so much. I'm talking about Brubaker, that when Miles basically says, the proverbial F off, it's like if you watch the scene, Brubaker's like high-fiving and laughing. It's like, you should really be being told off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So you don't think the jokes are funny at all, the Brubaker stuff?
I think they're kind of lowbrow.
Right.
Yeah. Same thing. And
that's Matthew Lillard. That's like his MO. Do you think those jokes were written into the script, or Lillard was ad-libbing?
I think it was a little bit of both.
I think okay. I agree.
Are those the only jokes that we're talking about? Is there other stuff in here that didn't work for you guys?
I think the similar picking on of Wilmer Valderrama's character.
Yeah. All the Mickey stuff.
Yeah. Those were tropes back then that just don't maybe necessarily land anymore. Mm-hmm. The pressure to have sex and everything. It just doesn't. Nobody cares.
That also came off as very like, hey, we have to write Fez a storyline.
Yes.
So let's make a Fez storyline.
And the storyline reminded me, even though they don't really play off like you don't see the woman, reminded me of American Pie with with Stifler's mom. And it's like, are you putting that in there because American Pie was such a huge hit in '99 and it was so big, and like you needed to add stuff like that because you wanted to people like, it's like American Pie but with baseball.
Well, how long was this script in development? Because I saw
at one
point Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were saying
they were.
Yep.
But but they probably, I like what I just said in terms of like adding stuff to it. That's probably we'll add this. It's just like Hello American Pie. It's sophomoric and sex comedy. We're gonna add that to this movie.
But it's also like there's a whole storyline that we're not getting with her.
Yes,
because she's gonna help him with his baseball career, and she seems like she really not only is she going to have sex with him, but she is going to help his baseball career. Like that last hit he takes is because of her, and she's got actual advice. But we don't know anything about Mickey or his hangups or what he needs to get over. The only ones we know about are Ryan and Brubaker, and in a little bit of a way, what's the hotshot guy?
Oh, Vandermeer or Van Lemire or whatever.
Yeah, Van Lemire. Like he needs to get off his high horse, kind of a thing. But he never gets that. He never resolves that.
So real quickly about Mickey, it's like that's clearly from Bull Durham. Like that's the Bull Durham.
Yeah, right.
Which is done much better. But also one of the problems that you're talking about, which I wanted to highlight, is the fact that there are 4 or 5 different stories in this movie that are competing for each other to be the main story. And I know the Tenley and Ryan romance is important because Ryan's the lead.
Right.
So that should be the one that wins out, but it should not have to compete with the Mickey storyline, the Miles storyline, the Brubaker storyline.
That was going to be one of the points I make. I think some of the B plots work. Like, I think there's too many of them to call them C plots because, to your point, they compete with each other. I think many of the B plots work. I think the A plot is separate from that, but the B plots, he loves the fat girls, he needs to have sex, the wooden bat struggles, which, that was more compelling.
Right.
There is, I found this review from the official Cape Cod Baseball League site. Back at
the reviews field.
That's fine. He's the guest.
No, but it's not about how the movie is, but it's that they actually highlighted the accuracy of some of these B storylines about like
house mothers,
sure. House mothers being a real thing. So you could have played with more of that, like she's developed the careers of real baseball players or other players that have gone through, and that like one of the other things they highlight is that booze and broads have derailed so many careers because you go play and then you go drink and then you wake up and you do it all over again. So like, I wish they tightened up some of those B plots into maybe those three, the scouts, the wooden bat struggles, and a little bit more highlight of the den mothers and the drinking.
Yeah, because I really thought that when she goes, I can help you with baseball career, she would start espousing like all this knowledge and then cut to, and also close the door, we're having sex. Like, I think that would have made for a better scene.
And then you get the cucumber joke, which doesn't make any, it's just thrown in there and it just devalues the entire thing.
That's just kind of soft.
I was over there and I had a cucumber salad.
I'm sure I laughed when I heard that line in high school.
But it's like, all I'm thinking is like, why'd you go over her house to have a cucumber salad?
Because everyone was going over her house.
But to that point, she tells him, you know, when he finally says, okay, I'm going to go, it's the end of the summer and it's so the whole summer he spent like bemoaning this. But I will say, to your point about the B plots and the C plots, those subplots need to involve the main character to help him in his main plot. So the subplot of him and his brother's angst, played by Jason Gedrick, and you know how his brother didn't make it, and his brother basically tells him when he asks him for help, like that helps his main plot. Like that's where those subplots should be. The plots of Billy Brubaker with the wooden bats, or Mickey Dominguez and the house mother, like those plots take away because they don't include Ryan Dunne.
See, I feel like for Brubaker that's not true, because I think that Ryan tricking Brubaker to stay by going to hang out with his friend, that is what helps Brubaker.
Sure.
So in that case, he is.
Okay, that's fair.
But yes, with the Mickey one, obviously nothing, and Miles is just
the Miles one, nothing.
The joke,
but that's the thing. Like if you're going to do those subplots and you're going to make if you're going to make them, then make Miles and Ryan and Brubaker and Mickey the four leads, just like in American Pie, and make the focus on each of their like arcs. Like the story should be about their four arcs, and then we don't have to worry about everything else. But unfortunately, that's not what they do. And I think like it's a lot of pulling and pushing. You know, you also have the subplot of the father of Ryan's dad. Yeah, Dunne. You know, he shows up, he's drunk, he rips him, but then like, I don't know about what you guys thought about
it's
this.
All fine the next day.
Yeah. It suddenly just changes. And I thought like, oh wow, he's a drunk. He's gonna tank his career. He's gonna rip into him in front of the agent. Like I didn't like the scout. Excuse me. I didn't. What did you guys think of the father son? Like just kind of like they kind of hinted at it, and then they're just kind of like, we changed our mind almost.
After you were.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Again, I like this movie. I enjoy watching this movie and picking up in various pieces. But my big problem with this is I think there's more of an opportunity here than they take advantage of. This was a fun movie that they were able to just make over a couple weeks in North Carolina playing baseball. I wanted to see more of the father and the brother. Like, again, you could cut out a couple of the B plots, get rid of the sister trying to figure out what a Chatham A is. And play with
or include the sister more in the relationship between Tenley and Ryan, in terms of like Tenley sees how Ryan is a nice guy or something.
Yes.
Late 90s, early 2000s, you're not going to not have a plucky little
right. Yeah. And I think what we're talking about is a different, like there's a nugget of a great story here, but we want a different movie than what they wanted to do. They wanted late summer rom-com, and you needed the push-pull with the father and Ryan, just so he feel, you know, but you're also highlighting.
You're giving the lead character a problem.
You're giving him an obstacle, but you're also highlighting the two differences that, you know, part of the reason these two characters maybe find each other is they both have tough fathers.
Well, Tenley's dad's a dick. I mean, he's an elitist scumbag.
He is.
He doesn't learn his lesson. He doesn't care.
No.
You know, even when she's the whole thing, my favorite part, when she's like, I want to stop at the stadium. It's not a stadium. It's a ball field. It's not a stadium. And they drive up right to the backstop. Like, it's like nobody's business. Like, there's no way you can get up to the backstop like that.
The other thing is, all these players are coming there. Why don't they ever go anywhere?
What's that?
the Chatham A's. They never go anywhere.
They do. They travel.
It's all in Cape Cod.
They say it. You don't. If you're listening to Kirk Gowdy, who's playing the
okay.
Which
sounds like everyone's coming to them.
Yeah.
No, you could tell by the uniforms too. They have the away and the home uniforms.
Okay.
They have the white uniforms and then the blue with the red trim. You could tell.
Yeah, and then in the heat of summer, for some reason, we've decided to put Freddie Prinze Jr. in a turtleneck every time he pitches on the mound. Like, that's such a terrible look. Like, what is this?
Because it had branding on it.
Of course.
But Mike, did you want to add anything about the father?
I
one?
do think that the alcoholism in that one scene is a little out of place. But for the most part, I mean, he's just kind of like getting over his mom's death. It's just to kind of show, oh man, look, that guy's so distraught. He's also, if you forgot, the mom died, guys, if you forgot. But we also did a little bit about Mike Dunne. That's a C or D storyline that needs to be a B storyline.
Yes.
Because it's got a B storyline wrap up that your B storylines don't even have.
Yeah.
Even Brubaker doesn't get that kind of wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
He's just kind of in a montage, is like, he's getting better. Whereas Mike and Ryan have this big come together at the end where that's half the voices in Ryan's head. And yet it's treated as a C or D storyline for the entire movie. I
think there's definitely issues within the script in terms of what stories get precedence. Now, granted, Matthew Lillard is extremely popular at this point, so that's why he's in the movie, because he got an and credit. So you're going to give him something.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the script probably needed another couple of rewrites in terms of tightening up. But you know what? That's the movie they did. So, I don't want to harp on that too much, unless you had something to add, Pat.
No, I had a question for you guys, because I think, we talked about we were maybe looking for a different movie with our little add-ins there. This does have a really, I think it's low-hanging fruit to make a Netflix series or an Amazon Prime series. How would you do it? Blue Mountain State or Friday Night Lights?
I never saw either. I know they're different qualities. I know Blue Mountain State's more like sophomoric and, off the wall. So I would probably tend to lean that way.
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights is just too serious for me. Although I like the movie Friday Night Lights, I just never, from what I've seen from the Friday Night Lights show, it's a little too melodramatic.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably wouldn't tend to like gravitate towards that. I'd probably go somewhere in between. Do a little bit more earnest in terms of the characters.
I would think if you did a show, maybe lean more toward like Remember the Titans. Have those moments where that camaraderie's there and they tell jokes to each other, but the stakes itself aren't jokey.
Yeah, and then
I like
of course, cast Denzel Washington in this movie as the coach, and we're all set.
Oh yeah. I think Denny does a good job. I think
he doesn't have anything to do.
No,
when he yells at the people, I believe he's a hardened coach.
But here's another talk about the script. Here's another subplot thing they do. You got 2 strikes. One more and you're gone. Like, okay. But that never comes up again. Like, I thought they were going to turn the burning of
into his 3rd strike.
Yeah, burning of the clubhouse into a 3rd strike, which not for nothing, but I know that guy's a ball player. You don't realize that if you kick the lighted match down, like you want to take care of that. You're just going to keep going. Like you're that like horn dogged up that you can't realize to go down there and shoot, I just kicked the whole lighted match.
It's getting hot in here, baby.
There.
Oh yeah, it's getting hot in here.
Well, it had to match his like flame theme.
His character.
Wait, was that foreshadowing?
It was so one note. Like it was so just, I don't give a crap about the team. This is who I am. And don't blow it. I'm like, you're so annoying. Like,
it's true. Yeah. That always pissed me off because like you realize he's pitching, like that affects you and your team. Mm-hmm. And he's just like harping on the whole time, even when he's doing good. Like just shut the hell up.
But it does and it doesn't, because in this league it is.
He just wants to look good, so he can
and especially for a pitcher. And I love the line where I think it's Ryan Dunne. He turns over and says, "Oh, there's a scout in the audience," and he's like, "Oh, by July, I think it is, there'll be dozens of them or something."
Yeah.
And if you're playing this, like, because this is just a summer league,
right?
You're not, you win the Cape Cod League, that's great, but
did they play every other day or twice a week or 3 times a week?
I think a couple times a week. Yeah.
Okay.
But they, you want to stand out more than win. If you go and pitch 7 shutout innings as the starting pitcher, and then your closer comes in and bombs it for you, you don't care because all the scouts saw you pitch, and then when they know Ryan's coming in, the scouts are like, okay, let's wrap it up and go to the bar real quick and get there early.
That makes sense. In the movie, we talk about stuff we don't like in terms of like, we talked about stuff that like didn't work or subplots. Give me something in the film that you really resonated with you, or a moment of the film. Let me give you mine, and then let me tell you why I don't understand why the scene was given to this one person. The biggest speech in this film comes from his friend Augie, when he tells him about, like, you know, you're not quitting. You know, this is what we're going to be. If you go and play for this whatever podunk team, we're going to be there. Like, that's the best speech in the film. But it's like, we got nothing else from his relationship with Augie and his other friend throughout the movie. They were just kind of like,
he kind of blows them off as soon as he gets to the team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't like the fact that they used this really good speech that was really performed well by the Gabriel man. And it was like, it was wasted on a character that you didn't take the time to develop the relationship between them.
And again, why maybe this is better as a TV show, but it's implied in the opening scene that Augie and Ryan and the other guys, they go way back and they've been here forever, and they're Cape Cod kids for life. And yeah, you're right.
Cape Cod for life.
Cape Cod for life. They needed more time together, but like, I guess from that opening scene, you're supposed to understand that, like, because they were trying to support him and they were trying to hype him up the night before.
Yeah.
And then they're at all the games throughout the year. So they're hanging around and always rooting for him.
They're at every game.
They're at every game.
Yep.
Every game. And I think part of that too is them understanding, like, we know who you are. You need to know who you are. Right. We're always going to be here, but we get it. You got to go focus on this thing. So they're not, at no point do they say, aside from when he's about to quit, do they say, oh, you're forgetting about us or you're ditching us? Like, they get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it's also, it reemphasizes the point that Tenley kept saying to him about, you know, you have to, you know, why can't you just let yourself succeed, get out of your own way, that kind of stuff. What did you think of that Augie speech?
I thought it was a great speech. But again, this is a D plot suddenly at the end becoming a B plot, just like with his conversation with Mike. But I thought it was really well done. I thought that was probably the best acting in the film.
Yes, I agree. That scene was really good.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, it also just he just switches. He's kind of the voice of reason between Augie and Mike, obviously, but he's still kind of a doofus for most of it. And then all of a sudden, he snaps.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you
like
give it to a character
person.
that you haven't shown us has that kind of gravitas at all, and you know, or not even that. You never see any kind of hurt in Augie when maybe Ryan spurns them or something like that.
You only see it once at the bar at the very beginning where they're like, hey, come play darts. And he's like, I got to go do this team thing. And
sure.
Like, yeah. Oh, okay.
And then they don't go after it a little bit more. Right. Yeah. No, I hear you. There's a lot of people. I like the stuff with Jason Gedrick and the brother conversation. I like in and of itself, like in that bubble, that conversation. Sure. I enjoy that conversation. Like you say, it doesn't really fit. It's at some points. I like Fred Ward. I like the father-son stuff. I like when he tells Bruce Davison to, you know, get real, see you later. You know, you don't own.
Pride is not just relegated to your class.
Right. I like that. I mean, I guess it's probably more true to form that somebody like Bruce Davison's the father, Tenley's father, wouldn't really learn his lesson. But like, you kind of want that. You kind of want him to be like, I was wrong, but he doesn't. And he never will
learn his lesson. I want him to get a comeuppance. I want him to get hit by with like a foul ball. I think that's what this movie needs. It was like missing. Tenley, I said you got to get back in that.
Is there anything else that I'm missing in this film that was something that really stood out that I have not brought up?
I think the Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jessica Biel,
their
chemistry. Yeah, I think the relationship works too, and you see it over the summer.
Do we like Freddie Prinze Jr. as an actor?
More so as a person, but I don't.
I'm sure he's a lovely man.
I don't dislike him as an actor. I think he's been in a ton of good stuff.
Good, not great. Is that what you're saying?
Good, not great.
Pat Whalen. Good, not great.
I don't think he was given.
There's not a lot for him to do here.
He's given roles like this throughout most of the heyday of his career, and now he's kind of doing a lot of
that.
Now he's kind of doing a lot of voice actor stuff. But yeah, this is exactly like those exact same characters, like She's All That and stuff.
Right.
So I don't think he was ever given the opportunity to rise above.
Right. What about Jessica Biel? We like Jessica Biel as an actress. I mean, I know why you like this film, just because Jessica Biel's in it. But like, do we like this as an actress?
I do like her as an actress. I think this actually, but maybe not necessarily like at this time in her career. I think what she's done, what we've talked about later on with Candy and a couple of the other more recent ones.
Well, that's because
she's really shown the range.
Because she's producing those, she's taking the range. She has got herself to a place in Hollywood where she can do what she wants to do, which is great, which is where you want to be, where you want to be able to control I don't want to say content. I was about to say content. What stories you want to tell?
Well, it doesn't hurt who her husband is, and she could just
she's got that Timberlake
True,
money.
but like that's not.
No, I'm kidding. That's not why she gets the jobs.
Yeah, that's probably why he gets the jobs. Let's put it.
Oh, absolutely. That's why he got in time.
Oh yeah, of course.
But what I want to point out though, like this is right around her like coming out tour.
Because it was her first big film.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was.
What was the horror movie she was in? I know that she was in
Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah,
she did Rules of Attraction after this.
Right.
And it was right before this that she did that the photo shoot that essentially gets her out of the contract of Seventh Heaven.
Yeah, that got
that's right. I forgot about Seventh Heaven. You're right. Well, please, there's a lot of things going on with Seventh Heaven.
But then she gets to like Stealth and Blade Trinity, and you're like, ooh,
Stealth is not good.
It's not good. And then she went quiet for a while, and
it's not her fault. But yeah, I hear you.
But she went quiet and she came back.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, like I said,
she's in Elizabethtown though, and I forgot she was in that. She's not bad in that.
But she's not. She plays his sister in the beginning. She's like in the beginning of the movie when he's got to go off and take the ashes. That's it. I don't think she's in
Hitchcock.
Oh, what the Showtime show?
The Will Smith movie.
Hitch?
No, Hitchcock.
Oh, Hitchcock. Right. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's a different Hitchcock. This is a TV movie. Okay, that makes sense. About Alfred Hitchcock.
So right.
I'll just add one other thing too, because you asked about what we liked. I like that the story is not groundbreaking. I think we've covered that. It's kids from the other side of the track falling in love. We get it.
Aww.
But the Cape setting it where they did was pretty cool. Like, there's not many movies. There's a lot of high school football movies. There's Cape Cod Baseball League is a really unique.
Yeah, it's a niche kind of thing to go to. Yeah. You could set in a college town.
Yeah.
Like a high school thing. But yeah, doing it that way was interesting. Or just do minor league, but with new characters because it's far enough away.
Okay, so let's get to some other stuff that I'm going to ask whether you like or not.
Okay.
What were we doing with Dee Dee, the Brittany Murphy character? Like, what was
the town trash?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I mean, like that's what we're saying in this movie. Like, that's what they were like perfectly okay with saying that Dee Dee was just somebody
fun,
that.
But she's non-committal. Yeah, she's just screwing around.
But she wasn't his boyfriend, his girlfriend. Excuse me. They were just messing around. And then she didn't get that job, so she comes back and now she's given to Brubaker.
Yeah.
I don't think she was ever going to get that job, and I think there was maybe other again, this is a hint of other stories, but you know. This is what derails players' careers is
having to drink beer between the knees of somebody.
Well, the townie girl that hangs around and like maybe she gets knocked up and you can't pursue those dreams anymore.
So we already know what happens to Brubaker. That's what you're telling me.
Yes.
Stuck in Cape Cod.
He'll be cutting grass.
He'll be
he just figured out those wooden bats.
He'll be eating too much chowder. Which, by the way, their accents.
I was just gonna get to that, Butler. My note was, why doesn't Freddie Prinze have an accent? Oh wait, he does, and it's like,
let's go on again.
Do you have the accent when you're doing the scene with Jason Gedrick, who clearly knows how to do the accent, and you're like, I gotta really step on my accent game. What is going on with that?
Because it's there again when he's in the pool with Jessica Alba, and then it's gone again, and then it comes back again. It's all over the place.
But Fred Ward kind of has it, but doesn't. It's really more muted for Fred Ward's character.
I feel like he just kind of does he just kind of does a tough guy accent, and he thinks it's all right. And that's good.
Well, I mean,
but it's consistent, so it works.
Yeah, exactly.
But
if you're not going to do it, give me something, or don't have the accent at all.
He's also a guy of not many words, so like if he's not like picking up the accent through his life, like that could explain that away.
So
Mike and Augie have the accent; they do it really well.
Right. Freddie Prinze Jr. was nominated for Stinker for this, Butler, for most annoying accent male. So
accent,
yeah,
I'll go.
Most annoying fake accent male, Freddie Prinze Jr. But he did not win the Stinker though. I don't know who won. I didn't look it up.
What are you talking about? Chowder. He says chowder once, and I feel like so mad.
The other thing I didn't like.
Chowder.
The other thing I did not like in the beginning was the multiple voiceovers. They had. Ryan's voiceover and then Billy's voiceover, and then we're done. No more voiceovers. For why? Why?
I thought you
that
had
is
three. You have Willard Valderrama has.
Did he have one too?
Yeah.
Even better. 3.
But he's not. He's a D-ply.
But again, this to your point earlier about like you make it about the foursome.
Yeah.
Playing there for the summer, that you further diminish, Jessica Biel's character, and then you have 4 of the players.
I hate voiceovers.
I do too. But if you have them just to introduce and then they're the full,
you've established your mains.
You've established your main cast.
Mm-hmm. If I removed Tenley from this movie, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, you have no female characters, so you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, to answer the question, is that a good thing?
I think it's a bad thing.
If I remove the romantic subplot from this film,
I think it's a bad thing.
It's a bad thing.
It's a bad thing.
He needs Tenley.
Why?
She not only helps him realize he needs to pursue his dreams, but also helps him, I think, grow up.
Why can't his father or his brother help him with that?
Because you don't establish that plot enough.
But I'm just saying,
you could have
with that theme, with that not that theme, but that lesson.
Sure,
it has to come from Tenley.
But the brother needs to get rid of one of the players then.
Okay, but
two of the players and put more.
Do we really believe that Ryan and Tenley are going to survive beyond this?
I absolutely believe they get married and then they have a very expensive divorce.
Yeah.
No, she is not going to Batavia.
They will never be like not for, and every time you see Tenley's mom, she's always drinking. She always has a drink in her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's that family is not healthy, and it's never kind of steered anywhere where it's like I believe they're growing and like you know what I mean. I think she's going to consistently be fighting with her father. They're never going to be able to get together. She's going to end up with somebody else, and he's just going to be he's going to have a cup of coffee with the Phillies and be in the minor leagues for the rest of his life.
Yeah, and the sister who is significantly. Do you think that's her full sister?
What do you mean that? Like that's a adopted sister?
I was going to say half sister.
Really? Why? Why are we saying that?
I'm just saying significantly younger.
The rich and promiscuous.
Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe.
How would that storyline have changed?
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of that at all.
I mean, think about the mom. The mom character is how old is the sister? Like 11?
She's probably like 11 or 12. Why? Tenley's supposed to be what? 20, 22?
Yeah.
Because she's just out of college.
But think about the mom character.
So 10 years apart now?
And an 11-year-old daughter.
Maybe that's his second wife.
Yeah, but again, I'm saying the mom may be too old to have had an 11-year-old daughter.
I don't know, man. I didn't really want to dive that deep into Summer Catch. I didn't know it. But let me give you some
Go Yard.
Let me give you some critic reviews, and let me tell you. You can tell me what you think of these. Lawrence Van Gelder of the New York Times wrote that it is a figuratively and literally a minor league movie. Take the romantic impulse behind F. Scott Fitzgerald's story, Winter Dreams. Add some New England small town stratification from John P. Marquand's novel, Point of No Return. Add a pinch of lusty Apple Annies from Bull Durham and some towny, preppy animosity from Good Will Hunting. Then bury the whole thing under a mound of standard issue parent-child conflicts and enough self-help cliches to drive Pulionis to the aquavit barrel at Elsinore. Sprinkle with half-baked characters and a predictably odds-defying outcome, and the result is Summer Catch.
Oh man, he reads a lot. He's such a learned man. He's so great. He's so much better than everybody.
He is, right? Look at that review.
God. Oh my God. God damn it.
I too did read that review. And none of what he said, he said
I primarily only read that just to get Butler upset.
What he said in different terms is exactly what we just said. But for us, it's a fun movie to watch in the summer. It could be a date movie. It could be a Saturday afternoon movie. It's just a fun movie to have on.
See, I disagree with that. To me, it's a movie that I would walk out of the theater and go, well, that happened. Where are we going to go eat? Like, I don't think I would ever revisit it again. But John Leedon of Variety was more forgiving with his analysis. And he said, with its haphazard mix of boisterously crude comedy, romantic entanglements, class-conscious clashes, and intensely competitive hardball, Pick plays like it was inspired by a late-night channel surf through Major League, Bull Durham, One Crazy Summer, and some late 50s wrong side of the tracks Meller. He praised Fenton's score and the film's humor, singling out Matthew Lillard, Brittany Murphy, and Beverly D'Angelo. D'Angelo has like literally on screen for maybe 30 seconds, 60 seconds.
Again, he's not saying anything different than what we're saying.
Well, how about this? One last one. Mark Savlov of the Austin Chronicle gave the movie 1.5 stars out of 5, adding baseball, summer, apple pie, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
America!
Bare butt. What could be more American? Toss in a brief glance at Matthew Lillard's equally naked behind, and you've got a better late than never entry in the cliched teen love story genre that, while generally inoffensive, is nonetheless so cloyingly heartfelt that it's all you can do not to giggle every time someone makes a prophetic, love-struck proclamation, of which there are many.
I don't think we get to see Lillard's butt. I think it cuts as he turns around.
Is that happen? Oh, yes, when he's in the...
We do not see Lillard's butt.
Oh, it's too bad. I'm sorry about that. So I guess I told you not to, unless you have anything else to add.
Nope.
I'm going to ask the question to you, and we can all answer, but you go first, Pat. Why are you saying this film is forgotten?
Not only is it forgotten, it was dead on arrival in the theaters.
Okay.
But why it's forgotten now, I think. Well, let me go back to the Dead on Arrival.
I will tell you that Rotten Tomatoes approval rating is 8%.
I know what it
we're
is.
fighting against that.
Rotten Tomatoes doesn't matter.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
All right, so let me back up a second. Either WB like dumped this, which is what I think they actually did, or they completely mistimed the market. And they thought that they could get a nice, easy viewing romantic comedy in before Labor Day, which wasn't going to happen. If you go back and look at the release schedule for 2001, I mean, this is on par with, some enduring films. You kick off the summer with Mummy Returns, the first Legally Blonde, the good Legally Blonde.
Oh, second one's not good?
Moulin Rouge, the original Fast and the Furious, Atlantis, Wet Hot American Summer.
Atlantis isn't good.
But it was a Disney. I mean, it was
Wet Hot American Summer, I love, but it did not do money.
It did not do money, but I'm just saying like enduring favorites for the year.
Sure, okay.
You had AI, which I wouldn't necessarily say is enduring, but it's a big Spielberg movie.
I like AI.
Jurassic Park 3, Princess Diaries, Rush Hour 2, and American Pie 2, and Jay and Silent Bob, which we already talked about.
Yeah.
It's a big summer.
That's a big summer. This one just didn't have a chance. It's a low budget movie that they dumped at the end of the summer. Now, why it's forgotten now is one, nobody has cable and nobody's putting it on TBS or HBO or anything.
True.
Two, the jokes we've already said, this is going to get canceled on Twitter the minute it goes on TBS. And three, nobody knows this cast anymore. Like we talked about Jessica Biel
Riley
now.
from Buffy. What are you talking about?
Nobody knows that. Like you got Freddie Prinze Jr., who's probably most known to your point earlier as the Star Wars voice actor.
Not Clone Wars.
Rebels. And you got Matthew Lillard. I mean, he was Scream, all that stuff, but nobody really knows him that much anymore.
I feel like people still know him as Shaggy.
You kind of know him as Shaggy, but he hasn't done much of anything recently.
Because he complained that they didn't cast him in the new one that they're doing.
Yeah,
you're 50, dude. You're not
yeah. You had we've talked about Jessica Biel. You had early career Brittany Murphy, who I think they're hesitant to put this movie on over like Clueless or 8 Mile or some of the other ones that are a little bit more well known.
She says there's other movies in her filmography that are better than this.
Yes. You had mid to late career Brian Dennehy, Bruce Davison.
Brian, this is Brian Paycheck Dennehy.
And you get the brother from Iron Eagle. Like nobody knows about Iron Eagle. I think the two most famous people at this point in our lives and in the life cycle of this film are Wilder Valderrama and John McGinley.
I like how no one has said that name right.
Valderrama?
Valderrama.
I said it.
So
I get names wrong.
Nobody is turning this on because nobody has any new audiences have no idea who these people are.
Interesting. I would add that nobody's turning this on because it's not that good.
Kanan Jarrus is the main character.
So why do you think it's forgotten, Butler?
Pretty much what Pat said.
Nice.
There's no
what
cable.
Pat said?
There's no cable anymore. This is.
What do you mean? Like this would be on like a cable?
This is going to be on
I got
Comedy
you.
Central.
Okay.
Over and over
Yeah,
over
that's
the
true.
time.
That's
The
true.
release schedule 2001 is too big of a summer schedule. Why not at the kickoff? Why not the start of the season put this out? I know it's summertime, but still
in the spring
when people are really like, oh man, baseball's back.
Yeah.
Put it out try to get some baseball fans. End of the summer, I don't feel like you're gonna get as many
seasons winding up.
As many people like going as hardcore about it anymore.
I could see this being a spring film. That'd probably be a better idea. And I also think, to Pat's point, like it would probably be on Comedy Central if the people in this movie were bigger stars than they were back then. You know what I mean? Like, that's probably why, because then they're like, oh, a lot of people watch it. But it's a numbers game. So that's probably what, to your point, it would be on, like Mike says, it's not on there. I think it would be.
And I just want to add one thing to Butler's point here, because you talked about early season, like do it closer to the start of the baseball season. I pulled up Fever Pitch, which was the Drew Barrymore, Jimmy Fallon one.
Year?
That was 2005, completely different year, but they released April 6th. Yes. Of that year,
but they had to delay theirs because they had to redo them.
They also had stuff.
They did have the Red Sox stuff. They had the Red Sox stuff. You had Jimmy Fallon, you had Drew Barrymore, which are arguably bigger gets than this cast in 2001. But it still did 50 million.
Right.
So it was able to like kind of skirt a lot of that summer noise and traffic.
Sure, that's fair. That's absolutely fair.
Well, in that case, do you think the uniqueness of taking place in Cape Cod actually hurts it then?
I don't think that matters.
You don't think if it was released to start of baseball, but it was the minor leagues, or
compare it to Bull Durham though. In Bull Durham, there is a point throughout the movie where you're learning about minor league baseball. you're learning about what it's like to be a minor league baseball player.
Durham is really good.
Oh, I know, because it's written really well. Ron Shelton's a really good writer. But to his point with this movie, you don't really learn a lot about the Cape Cod League as you move forward. It's just kind of like, here it is. You get those 3 voiceovers, and then
it's
like,
set dressing.
Get ready for a sex comedy, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's in that regard. So I think maybe if it was more like Bull Durham, where you learned a little bit about the Cape Cod and the ins and outs, maybe the house mother stuff was a little bit more like, oh, that's like, there's no discussion about the idea of the house mother. They're just like, why aren't you boning her? Like, there's no like an older gentleman going, oh yeah, she's that's been going on for years. Like,
she's a legend. Take a look at these photos.
Right. That's what they do with Annie and Bull Durham. That's what they do with Annie and Bull Durham when he has that big monologue at the end, which is an awesome monologue in the movie. But so I think to that point, I think that's probably where we lacking there. So I guess I got nothing else to add about this movie, Pat. I'm glad that we finally were able to do it.
Thank you for doing this.
And now we can cross it off and never talk about it again.
I feel like you didn't. Let me ask you this before we close.
Yeah,
did
sure.
you like it maybe a little bit more than you thought you would? Because you're not dunking on it as much as maybe you threatened Pat.
I'm not dunking on it because I don't want to hurt your feelings. No, I mean it's an easy watch, but it's like I said, it's a watch where like, okay, I watched it. I'm trying to think about like the stuff I would go back to. Like I said, Fred Ward is fine. I like Fred Ward and that stuff. There's little moments that were good, like the whole quote of, you want big rewards, you got to take big risks. I like that quote. The only problem is that theme and that idea is banged over the head constantly throughout the movie. Like, she's constantly having that same conversation with him.
Right.
And it's just a little like, okay, I get it. That's the theme. My other thing is also like, he can't pitch, and his like mechanics bothered me. And the one thing I don't like in sports films is when people are not athletic.
That is true. Everybody else, a lot of the background players are actual college players.
Right.
The only one that really shows that he can't do it, that he is going to get dunked on by Ken Griffey Jr. is the fact that Ryan Dunne can't pitch.
When you watch him,
and they cheat it. They cheat the scenes.
They cheat. When you watch him. When you watch him pitch, they never show him finish off.
No,
because he's so stiff. He never throws the ball hard. He's just throwing the ball.
Well, you see a couple, but they're all from back in the bleachers.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So and I was watching that, and it bugs me. I really like Little Big League. I like that movie. And part of the reason why I like that movie is because there's people in that movie that can play baseball, and they look like they can play baseball. And also, the shortstop in Little Big League is Kevin Elstrom. He was on the Mets. And it was actually, he has one of the funniest lines in the movie. He's like, I'm hitting over August. Like, I like Kevin. I liked because they could all play. And that, I guess maybe that helped immerse myself in the movie more. But when they can't play the sport, I hate it. It bothers me. And he couldn't pitch, and that bugged me. And even like Matthew Lillard swinging, it looked great, but it didn't look like a professional baseball swing. You know, I
will argue that one, because he's not a professional. He's trying to make it up. He's just a college kid, and he can cheat the college.
Kid, but people get picked out of the minors all the time in high school.
But he's not in the minors. He's a college. He's a late. Hang on. He's a late college player that's so used to the aluminum bat. Like, he could fake in college with the aluminum bats. So that's the difference between the Cape Cod.
I'm talking about his swinging. I'm talking about,
I know that, but he could still
swing in the bat.
He could still fake the strength with the aluminum bat.
I know. I'm not. I'm talking about his technique. I'm talking about.
I know that, but like, his form isn't good.
Yeah, it's not.
But
good.
he could fake it. A real person can fake it to get this far. But this is the end of their road.
I'm not saying this didn't happen, but there's no notes in these facts that any of these people took any kind of baseball instructional course. You know, every time somebody does a war film, we talk about during like 4 months of boot camp, and they're vomiting every day and they can't handle it. You know, but like, in none of the facts here, I never heard anything about any of these people taking some kind of baseball course.
There's one person who didn't go to boot camp, Matt Damon, and Saving Private Ryan.
Well, he was not supposed to.
Yeah, so they hated him.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's a great thing to do.
I will always bring that note up.
The one note, the one note is that the majority of the teammates were actually minor leaguers.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
they look great,
but not the face actors.
Right, which bugs me. Like Tin Cup. Kevin Costner, he can clearly strike the ball.
Yeah.
And that's what makes that movie, because you can have your lead in wide shots actually performing the action. No, he doesn't have to hit the ball, doesn't have to be straight, but as long as you're showing me hit the ball and he can do it well, then I'm good. But that helps. I think that helps me, the believability factor, maybe. Okay. What are you staring at me?
I just think that's you. You're going overboard with this.
No, I don't, because I think that's a big thing. These are actors. You're an actor, and you're taking on a role of a minor leaguer. You're going to tell me you're going to show up without any kind of.
I know you hate it because you brought this up ever since you talked about that one guy who you had in your short. Run.
Dude, he was supposed to be a spy, and he ran.
And I feel like that has kind of stayed with you your entire life.
No, that was I believed that before that.
Was I there for this one?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was a. We were doing this, and we stopped doing this. I think it was going to be a web series. It was purebred actually. And he's supposed to be this like really hardened spy, and I needed to run across the parking lot.
Yeah,
but like he's supposed to be somebody who could murder somebody. He runs like an antelope. Like he runs like he was like he's running like he's in the field of daisies. And I was like, I had to be like, no, I need you to run. Oh yeah, no run. No. And I was just like, no. Like that's the thing though, Butler. That's the whole like the gait and how to walk and how to run and how.
I don't
act.
disagree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope that if you ever got cast as a baseball player, that you would take it upon yourself to learn how to play baseball.
Yes.
Where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenEntertainment.com or ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com. While you're on ForgottenEntertainment.com, check out all the other great podcasts, including Yet Another MCU Podcast, starring Pat.
And me.
And yeah, you, I guess. And check out all the other great podcasts we have as well. You can also find us on all the social medias, including Facebook on The Lobby. Join us in The Lobby. It's our Facebook group where we can talk about movies. Defend Summer Catch. I'm sure most people just take field side like they always do.
Well, because I'm right.
But let us know if you have any love for Freddie Prinze Jr. and Summer Catch.
Awesome. And join us next week where we'll be doing The Accountant from 2016 with Ben Affleck and other people. I forgot the guy's name.
I don't think you've seen this movie.
Yes, I have.
Have you seen
The Accountant?
it? Okay.
Yeah. The two brothers.
John Bernthal.
That's right. Bernthal. I forgot his name. Apologies, Mr. Bernthal. Apologies. That's next week. We'll be doing The Accountant. Sorry, Pat, you're not going to be with us. We'll be doing that solo. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for doing Summer Kitchen. Pat's going to return later on this season. We're going to be doing the movie Wind River with Pat. So that's actually, obviously, we're doing a complete 180 from this film to that film. So
get your sad caps on.
So Pat, you'll see everyone again. If you want to pimp anything, do you want to talk about anything or before we go?
No, I think Mike covered it all. Thanks for having me. It was a blast, and
we'll do it again. Awesome. All right, everyone. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Elise.
Hosts of Crackin' One Open with Mike and Elise.
A podcast about brews, news, and pop culture reviews.
Every Friday, we choose a new craft beer from a different brewery and talk about
the history of the beer,
what's in it,
how it was made,
the history of the brewery,
along with tasting notes and more fun facts.
After that, come chill with us as we bring you the latest in pop culture news and reviews.
So check out Crackin' One Open, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family. Payment family. Payment family. Payment family. Payment family.